right, we're here at Boat Masters in Livermore. I've got with me half of the team from last year's winning team at the Bass Cat Owners event that's held on the California Delta at Russo's. What I wanted him to do is kind of walk us through his journey and his experience going back to Mountain Home and participating in the National Team Championship. So, with that being said, Matt, tell me about, how did you start fishing, first of all? How did you get into the tournament scene? And how did you get into the Bass Cat Owners?
I was introduced to fishing by an uncle, and my cousins and I all grew up fishing. We fished on the Delta a ton. Had always wanted to fish in tournaments, but it was always kind of a little bit intimidated. We didn't have a fishing boat, so we converted an old ski boat, put a trolling motor on the front of the old ski boat, and we're trying to figure things out. Always seeing bass guys running around the Delta, and always, wanting a bass boat for myself. And I ended up on another fishing trip, a salmon fishing trip, and was introduced to my partner that I ended up fishing this tournament with. And we hit it off.
That was Chuck Schroeder?
And that was Chuck Schroeder. So we hit it off. I was milking him for all the information I could get out of him, and this opportunity came up, and through the guys at Boat Masters, I bought my first boat, which turned out to be a Bass Cat Pantera 4.
Nice.
And he and I entered into the tournament, and this is my first tournament ever.
Guys, come on over here. At least tell us how your day was today.
It was kind of slow this morning. We ran down south, and the fish that we were hoping to catch down there weren't cooperating, so we came back up north, and we needed a high tide to catch the fish that we were trying to catch, and we got the tide right. And threw 6-inch Senkos and 6-inch lizards, chartreuse, pumpkin, and they ate them good, and we caught them, so they were lucky.
Matt?
This is my first tournament ever, so Chuck came out and 3 fish yesterday, and I just jumped on his back, and he had it all laid out for us today. So,
congratulations! Big round of applause, guys.
So for this to be my experience, not only winning on, first of all, not thinking we had any chance at all in winning. But to win it on the Delta, and then to have the experience of going back to Mountain Home and meeting those people and seeing like the bass fishing mecca of the country, or the world for that matter. I had no idea about Bull Shoals, Table Rock, North Fork, and all of those iconic bodies of water back there. The concentration of bass boat manufacturers in that area. The family community that has turned out to be, the Bass Cat family, and getting to spend time with Rick Pierce, and he picked us up at the airport in Little Rock, spent time with us, took us back roads from Little Rock back to Mountain Home, showed us a bunch of areas where he would ride a little Yamaha dirt bike out on all these back roads through the Ozark Mountains and everything.
A lot of history.
Ton of history, and then to see the concentration of bass boat manufacturers in that area, to hear about the history, and hear how Bass Cat started, and to see all that, to ultimately take a plant tour to see it from the ground up, meet those people, and then to have the incredible fishing experience that we had over those 2 days. It was all kept pretty quiet. They kind of held their cards close to try to keep parity in the event, and not giving local fishermen a home field advantage by announcing what the format was or what we were doing.
Right.
But we ultimately ended up fishing 5 bodies of water. We fished. Started the morning at Bull Shoals, went to Table Rock, I think, and then Taneycomo. And then the second morning, we started off on a little section of the White River, which was interesting. I caught a trout on a Cinco. There was a trout wild card that, so bagged a trout on a Cinco. We got to weigh that in, and then we finished off at Norfolk that afternoon.
So before we go into that, let's back up real quick.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Let's back up real quick. But so how long would you say you've been bass fishing before you entered the Bass Cat Owner event?
I would say probably 5 years, like really focused and like reading articles, learning about bass behavior,
But this is your
bass
first competition.
habitat. This was my first ever competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, going back to those lakes, those iconic lakes back there, how were they? Were they all pretty similar, or were they pretty diverse in the kind of structure or habitat that you saw?
They all seem to be, from what I can remember, they all seem to be pretty similar between Bull Shoals, Table Rock, and Norfolk, with Main Lake Points, Rocky Bluffs, stuff like that. And the two big differences were the section of Lake Taneycomo, which really, in dissecting it and looking back on it, it kind of reminded both Chuck and I of the upper stretches of the Sacramento River. There was grass on the edges, and we were running up and down there, kind of scratching our heads until coming down to like the last hour, I started ripping a chatterbait through the grass, and we picked up two right off the bat, which got us onto a little bit of a pattern on that, and then we just worked that and kind of scratched it out there. So we had a really good start on Bull Shoals. That the first tournament morning, the conditions set up perfectly. It was overcast, wind started blowing, started to rain a little bit. We buzzed right out. Schroeder is just a guy that's like get right to fishing. He's not a guy that's going to be running 30 miles down to hit something. It was like line in the water right off the bat.
Good.
And a family friend of mine knows Brandon Polynuk, TJ Carter. He lives in Montana, but he knows Brandon, and Brandon won a tournament out there on the Wigglewort.
Yep.
So he's actually sent me a box of reaction baits to take with us. And that first morning, with those conditions setting up, we hit a Main Lake Point tight on the Wigglewort. Picked up a smallmouth right off the bat. It was like a half an inch short, and then we ended up knocking. I think we ended up catching a limit right there off of that one section.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So now, when you showed up to start this event, and Rick picked you up, what was there? I mean, how did you guys? So you're getting all your accommodations to get there, and I know Bass Cat helped you in a big way with that.
Yeah.
I do believe. What about tackle, boat, all that stuff? How did that all work out?
We ended up packing all of our own stuff. So each Chuck and I put together a bag of everything we could think of. Rods, reels. We ended up pre-shipping that out to Bass Cat, so that was amazing for us. We got there. They had a tow vehicle waiting for us to set us up with a boat. I think it was a Puma FTD, but it was the one with it had like an experimental Honda 4-stroke motor on it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, like keys to the kingdom.
Nice.
Here's a new dually Dodge tow vehicle, and here's your brand new Bass Cat boat.
Yeah. And I know they ran you ragged. I mean, fishing 5 lakes in 2 days is not an easy task. You guys must have been up for long hours.
They were definitely long hours, and that intensity or adrenaline from tournament fishing, launching the boat, getting in the water, take off, come back, put the boat back on the trailer. I mean, when it was all said and done, like after the second day, honestly, I could have gone on for another week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Yeah, yeah.
And you guys came in fourth, right? Is that
We came in fourth overall, yeah.
overall?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we started off hot on Bull Shoals. We were able to do some pre-fishing. We got in the afternoon, whatever day we got there. We made it into Mountain Home, went on the plant tour. Rich showed us around. We had a nice dinner that night, met the other anglers. The format of the tournament was laid out. And that next morning we got up, we chose to fish Bull Shoals and Table Rock and pre-fish those that day, our free day, which both of those bodies of water are so huge. The areas that we chose to launch and fish were not even close to where we put in the morning of the tournament, so our pre-fishing really didn't translate that well to what we were doing in the morning of the tournament.
Okay. Well, if you were to give advice, or at least if you wanted to say, one thing or something to the folks that are considering fishing the owner's event, what would it be?
Say that if there's, first of all, participating in the event on the Delta with the crew of Boatmasters, everybody being out there is a great event to come out. The opportunity to be able to go to Mountain Home as a possibility for a winning prize of going out there, to absolutely not miss the opportunity. It would be a total eye-opening experience. Schroeder has fished a number of tournaments over the years, pro-ams, all that stuff, and this was like the trip of a lifetime for him, and me being a first-time experience. I mean, pretty spoiled. What more could I ask for?
Yeah.
So
Well, both you and Chuck were, you did great out there. You represented the West well.
we took a couple goose eggs, man.
That's
If we could have squirted a ray on, I think, Table Rock and North Fork, we could have, probably. But
Hey,
it is what it is.
fourth out of 10 or 11 teams on strange bodies of water that you've never been to before. You can't complain about that. That's pretty good showing, in my book.
Yeah.
So, but we appreciate having you guys out there. We appreciate you guys as champions. So, if you guys are thinking about fishing the event, take it from Matt. It's something you don't want to miss. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and I'm anxious to see who the 2017 champions are going to be and who's going to represent us back in Mountain Home at the end of the year at the team championship.